right at Briley Parkway. It's busy in a couple of spots out here, like on the South Loop here at I-40 at Demonbreun. Watch for radar, plenty of it. I-40 as you travel out parts of Wilson County just past 840. It's a little bit slow there just before you get into Lebanon and the eastbound lanes of I-40. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. If you're having transmission problems, bring your vehicle to Amco Transmissions on Nolensville Pike. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Dozens of vendors, one local tradition.
Lump juicy tomatoes.
The Farmers Market, every Tuesday and Friday.
Pick fresh this morning
at Lane Agro Park in Murfreesboro.
Farm fresh eggs.
The Rutherford County Farmers Market, open Friday 8 to noon, Tuesday 7 to noon or 2 to 7.
Rutherford weather. Cloudy skies expected tonight. Lows around 56. Blended clouds and sun tomorrow. High temperatures push up to 67. I'm WGNS meteorologist Darren Hyde. Right now, 68 degrees.
We do it over here. Some pizza.
Order a royal feast or create your own pizza online now at sirpizzatn.com. Carry out delivery for dinner tonight at sirpizzatn.com.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at WGNSradio.com.
This is the Blue Raider Podcast on WGNS, presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee. It's your all-access pass to everything Middle Tennessee sports. Game recaps, player spotlights, and the latest from the heart of Blue Raider Nation. Now, here's your host, Jake Bolden.
Three, two, one. Welcome back to the Blue Raider Podcast presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee. Today's episode, we've got baseball hosting their 100 Miles of Hate this Friday night. And then the NCAA has also disclosed some changes to their eligibility start for next academic year. March Madness also expanding up to 76 teams. How does that affect MTSU? Football got their new schedule released this week now that La Tech is officially out of Conference USA. And, of course, we will be joined by our friend over at Go Middle, Connor Smith. But before we get into today's episode, I've got to thank our presenting sponsor, Gold's Gym of Tennessee, who has a new month-to-month pricing right now available only online. Their gold membership is just $25 bi-weekly with a $40 enrollment, or you can even upgrade to the family plan for you and your significant other at $45 bi-weekly with only a $20 enrollment. And that membership is going to give you access to all 16 Gold's Gym locations across the state of Tennessee, along with group exercise classes and childcare. Again, all that is included at no hidden cost. So visit Gold's Gym of Tennessee online at goldsgym.com to learn more and find a location near you. And if you're not already, subscribe to our social media outlets on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and of course our Friday live stream. We are at Blue Raider Pod. And if you want to join into the episode, the station number is 615-893-1450, and our producer will take your calls. Today's action in MTSU softball is at home for their final home series of the year against FIU. They started at 4 p.m. Men's tennis kicks off their NCAA tournament right now as we're live streaming at 5 p.m. And then, of course, at the end of our episode, baseball is hosting Western Kentucky and their 100 Miles of Hate. Today's episode, though, we are going to be previewing that MTSU baseball series against Western Kentucky with the one and only over at Go Middle, Connor Smith. Connor, thanks for joining us.
Jake, I love coming on the pod, so thanks for having me on.
Man, I've been dying really for weeks to get you on. It's been a lot of obstacles. Obviously, now we're doing the live stream here with WGNS and on every Friday, a more structured setting where we used to try to do this thing on Sunday nights and Monday nights late. Now we've got a whole new setup, so I'm happy to have you a part of it. But today's topic at hand, baseball. That's kind of the big topic for everybody. Does this team make the conference tournament? Do they finally get over that hump that's been elusive for them? You know, a couple weeks ago when I was trying to get you on, they were going up against Delaware. A sweep there, you feel really good. But now, I don't know. I'm not as optimistic as I was a couple weeks ago.
No, I'm not either. I mean, a lot of the things that we've seen this season come from inconsistency, road struggles, and early on, whenever you're kind of struggling on the road or being inconsistent in whatever area that is, you think, okay, you can get it fixed by mid-season, the last half of the year, and they still haven't gotten it fixed. The bullpen is still blowing games. They're, I believe, 3-16 on the road. Like, it's so late in the year that some of their problems are not fixable.
Well, you talk about the road woes, 3 wins on the road all year. They got their first in Conference USA this last weekend in Game 2 against Sam Houston. It's inevitable. You're going to play half your conference season on the road. But baseball, at least in my opinion, especially in Conference USA, you're not going to SEC schools where they have packed crowds. I mean, Sam Houston's not known for their Friday night atmosphere at Sam Houston games. But I don't even know how you attribute bad road records in conference ball, because in my opinion, the game is always the same, whether it's in Murfreesboro or whether it's in Huntsville, Texas. So I don't know how to attribute it other than you've just played really good teams on the road. Like, you look at Jack State, Louisiana Tech, who typically has a really good baseball program, not this year, at least not to their normal prowess, but yeah, that's the only I can mark it up to is you've played really good teams on the road, you've played bad ones at home, but I mean, is it just that simple, you think?
Yes and no. I think obviously you're playing good teams on the road. You know, they played Missouri State, Jack State. You mentioned it with La Tech. They're going to play Liberty on the road. So you're playing all the best teams on the road, but at the same time, when you watch those games, they're in it for the first 7-8 innings. And a lot of the time, like against Missouri State or Jack State, you're up by several runs and you blow it. To me, it's an issue with finishing. And with those 3 wins on the road that they have, it's against lesser teams, Alabama A&M, Belmont, and Sam Houston. So they're teams that, you know, are not good enough to take advantage of your mistakes. And when they play a team like Missouri State or Jack State that has that talent and they mesh really well, you know, when MTSU starts to falter towards the end of the games, they have the talent to take over and make them pay for the mistakes. That's how I see it, just personally.
And those teams hit really well. I mean, yeah. Missouri State's the best offense in Conference USA. Jack State, one of the best teams in the country. I mean, I think they received top 25 votes this week as well. So they're not just nobody teams that are playing. But looking forward to this Western Kentucky series. Again, they host tonight at 6 p.m. The Saturday matchup is 3 p.m. and then Sunday is at 1 p.m., the normal split for times there. But this one's a big deal because both of these teams right now are tied for 6th place in Conference USA. Unfortunately, you do not have the tiebreaker over Sam Houston, who's the 3rd team that's also tied for 6th place right now. You need to finish in the top 9. So technically, if the season were to end right now, all 3 of them would be in. But holding a tiebreaker over one of these teams would be ideal. And Western is they've kind of been an enigma this year. We all know how good they were last year, a top 25 team last year. They've lost basically the entire team into the transfer portal. The coach is gone. They had to refield a whole new team. So a lot has changed for Western Kentucky, but both teams are trending in opposite directions. MTSU's lost 4 of their last 5 since that Delaware sweep 2 weekends ago. Western Kentucky has now won 5 of their last 6. Dating back to winning Game 3 against a very good Missouri State team. They just won their last conference series against Kennesaw State. And another storyline on top of this whole scheduling fiasco, Western Kentucky, their final 2 series are against Dallas Baptist at home next weekend. Mm-hmm. And then they go to Newark to face Delaware for their last series. So for them, you got 3 hard games, Dallas Baptist, 3 easy games against a Delaware team, but Delaware's no slouch. They just pulled up a big upset this last weekend and won in their series, but that's still 3 winnable games. So for them, they're thinking this is a series that's going to jockey for position, and same for MTSU because you finished with Liberty and FIU, so you kind of a hard series and you have a relatively easy series. So this is kind of this series is huge for a lot of reasons.
No, yeah, on both sides, like you said, you've got for each team I don't want to say necessarily bad, but a lesser team than a good team. It's flipped. I think it means a lot more for MTSU, though, with the way you finished the season, 3 games at Liberty, obviously one of the best, if not the best, pitching teams in Conference USA and on the road. So, you know, MTSU is going to struggle. Losing to Sam Houston, you could have kind of afforded to lose this series if you would have beaten the Bearcats in Huntsville, but lost that series. You almost have to win this just to feel comfortable because I don't want to go ahead and predict, but it seems like they're probably going to lose at least 2 of 3 against Liberty, so that means you have to sweep FIU just to have a chance at getting in if you lose this series.
Well, and going back to what the makeup of this tournament looks like, because again, it's not your typical bracketing formats, they do a pool play series. And so I know that if you are the 1, 6, or 9, that's pool A. So you really want to get off the 6 and 9 spot because you're going to be playing the number 1. The other spots is the 2, 5, and 8, and then the last pool is 3, 7, and 4. So it's almost like you feel better at the 7 being mixed with 3 and 4 versus being at the 6, or even worse, the 9, facing off against the 1, and then back to being at the 8 seed. You're probably going to be facing the 2. So you don't want to lose to win in this type of situation, but it kind of feels that way. But with Western Kentucky, and I don't know where everything's going to shake out as far as tiebreakers go, but that's its own beast. I think I'm with you. Just win. Take care of business. Let things shuffle out. In my opinion, I think from a Blue Raiders perspective, Blue Raider fan perspective, just get to Kennesaw. Get to the Conference USA tournament, and then anything can happen, especially in baseball this time of year. But the notes I have for this team, you already said it, the pitching staff. It's been late game situations, and really, as of late, it's just kind of been one inning that just slips away from the bullpen. I had noted game 1 against Sam Houston, Kerrigan's 8th inning, giving up 2 runs on a walk and error. Torbett and Birch's 5th inning against Sam Houston in game 3, they gave up 6 runs. And then Alberon, even as early as Alberon's 3rd inning against Vanderbilt on Tuesday night, where he gave up 3 runs on top of an already kind of sluggish start. So and the offense hasn't been great either. But these 1-inning setbacks from this bullpen have done a lot of damage and almost makes these offensive struggles seem insurmountable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got the offense, as you said, struggling as of late. They were one of the best offenses in mid-major baseball early in the season. But the last, probably, 2 or 3 weeks, they haven't been hitting, haven't really been getting anyone on base either. You go back to that La Tech series, and that's kind of when things started. I think they scored a combined 9 runs. They had a great game against Belmont a few weeks ago, but then even that died down. And when you lose a guy like Drew Horn for, I don't know how long he's out, but whenever you don't have him in the lineup pitching, getting you 5, 6, maybe 7 innings of baseball, the bullpen has to do their job even more. So I mean, it's been rough, and like you said, you can't count on them right now to get the job done.
Yeah, that La Tech series was a turning point for the offense. Even the Delaware series, you just swept them. But other than game 1, I think they scored 8 runs in the last 2 games. So you relied heavily on your pitching staff in those games, and you can see what happens when the offense struggles. The pitching holds strong, but it's hard to really pinpoint to the offense. Putting all the weight on the offense because the pitching staff has been better. But there are times where the pitching staff is great and the offense just isn't there. But when they mesh, they mesh. This team is really good. I think, looking back to early on in the year, when the back end of the bullpen looks really good, this team feels like they could beat anybody. I mean, I know we looked back at the Jack State series. You know, they led Jack State for over half that entire series. It was just
runs.
Right. It was just those last couple innings where it just slipped away. So I hate wasting David Horton Jr.'s season. I mean, the guy's been great, and he's been pitched in game 1s as of late. Chandler Alderman's been their game 2 guy. Same with Chandler Alderman. He's not back to freshman season form, but he's definitely more consistent than he was last year. I think I can only look back to one game last year where Alderman looked like freshman Alderman, and that was that Louisiana Tech game where he went complete 9 innings in game 3.
Yeah.
But you said Drew Horn. I have no idea. Doesn't sound like you have any idea what Drew Horn's status is, but finding Cole Torbett over the last 2 weeks has been great, but his last start against Sam Houston wasn't great. I mean, looking to that third starter or even an opener style, I mean, is there anyone on in this staff that you feel comfortable being that game 3 starter with Drew Horn out?
I still like Cole Torbett. I mean, I know he had kind of a blow-up game on Sunday. It wasn't necessarily as bad as it looked. I think he got maybe extended too long because he was fine the first 3-4 innings, and that one inning, like you said earlier, it comes back to bite him, and it came back to bite him that day. But besides that, he's been pretty reliable. He's gotten 3 or 4 innings of 2-run ball most of the season. Obviously had the near complete game shutout a few weeks ago. So I think he's not necessarily like a guy you want to lean on, but when you have pitchers like David Horn Jr. and Alderman who are going to come in and do their thing, Cole Torbett is perfectly fine for Sunday.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to blame Myers for starting him game 3 against Sam Houston because of his performance, that near-complete game against Delaware 2 weeks ago. TSWA Pitcher of the Week, Conference USA pitcher of the week. Again, you can't fault him. The guy was the best arm you had available. But piecing together that Game 3 has paid out for him. I'm looking at guys like Colin Kerrigan, who hot and cold he is, but when he's hot, he's one of the better relief arms that they've got. Landon Birch even at times has been pretty good, but we've seen him struggle as of late. Again, looking back to Sam Houston and even Vanderbilt this week as well. So a lot of eyes to what the pitching staff still kind of – it doesn't feel like Jerry Myers has been consistent about who that Game 3 starter is going to be for him, because he just doesn't – it's just, again, inconsistency. I don't know. It's hard to put blame on that on anybody, because maybe these guys don't know who's starting that Game 3 matchup. But the first pitch for that series is going to be this evening. Dick Palmer at Reese Smith Jr. Field. He's going to have your pregame show right after us at 5:45. When we come back, Connor and I are going to take a look at MTSU football's new schedule after La Tech's exit from Conference USA was finally approved this last week. So get our take on the latest there. And, of course, NCAA's eligibility has changed. We're going to be talking a lot about that. You're listening to the Blue Raider Podcast presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee.
At State Farm, when home and auto work as a team, you score and save money. I'm State Farm agent Andy Wama. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let's work together to win big by saving money on home and auto. With the service you get from State Farm, you might think our car insurance costs more. I'm State Farm agent Andy Wama. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let me show you with discounts up to 40%. You may find it even costs less.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Auctions are easy, fast, and profitable.
Whether you're buying or selling a home or commercial property, the auction is just so much easier, quicker, smoother.
My wife and I sold our personal home. Parks Auction helped us with that. The house brought about 20% more than we were going to ask for.
Visit parksauction.com.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Clark's Auction Company, committed to auction excellence.
Sold it to you, 27.5.
When illness or injury turns everyday moments into uphill battles, there are medical professionals who step in with skill, compassion, and unwavering dedication. My name is Joey P. I'm CEO of Murfreesboro Medical Clinic, and we are proud to highlight this month's MMC Heart for Healing recipient.
We recognize Dr. Sean Horwitz, a surgeon at MMC, whose reputation is built on as much his heart as it is his hands. Dr. Horwitz makes every patient feel like his priority. Whether performing complex robotic surgery or providing life-changing breast care, he combines elite technical precision with a rare, compassionate touch that truly defines him. Dr. Sean Horwitz, our MMC Heart for Healing.
If a doctor, nurse, or medical professional has made a difference in your life, tell WGNS. Help us recognize the medical heroes in our community by nominating them for the MMC Heart for Healing Award, and help us recognize the medical heroes in our community.
First Shot transforms Rutherford County youth. Coach Andy Herzer leads dynamic basketball camps and clinics, building skills and character since 2003. Kids dive into exciting STEM projects, sparking creativity through hands-on coding, art, and dance. They elevate their mind, spirit, and body in summer and winter programs. Visit FirstShotTN.org today to learn more. First Shot, where kids gain, elevate, and develop.
McCabe Vision Center.
That's what it is cataracts, because it's sort of like a film or...
He's the eye doctor you hear on the radio.
How did you know something was going on?
I had problems driving at night. If I was hitting oncoming traffic, it blinded me, essentially. I had trouble seeing people's features if they were standing with the light behind them.
McCabe Vision Center.
I don't wear my glasses anymore. This is amazing for me because I've worn glasses since junior high, and now I don't have to.
Good afternoon. Filling out paperwork on this wreck in Madison, 65 southbound, right at Briley Parkway. It's busy in a couple of spots out here, like on the South Loop here at I-40 at Demumbrian. Watch for radar, plenty of it. I-40 as you travel out parts of Wilson County just past 840. It's a little bit slow there just before you get into Lebanon and the eastbound lanes of I-40. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. If you're having transmission problems, bring your vehicle to Amco Transmissions on Nolensville Pike. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
This is the Blue Raider Podcast, presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, 100.5 Smyrna, WGNSradio.com, and the Blue Raider Podcast YouTube channel. Now, back to your host, Jake Bolden.
Welcome back to the Blue Raider Podcast, presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee. MTSU football released their new schedule for the 2026 season after La Tech's very dramatic exodus of Conference USA. I'm joined by Connor Smith of Go Middle to break down that schedule, but first I got to plug our social media again at Blue Raider Pod on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and of course our live stream every Friday on YouTube. MTSU got their new schedule. Before I do that, I got to get to this week's MTSU athletics. Men's tennis today against NC State. If they win today, they're going to play either the winner of Georgia and Elon tomorrow at 3 p.m. They're in Athens, Georgia. Softball is finishing up their season this weekend against FIU. They did not get into the conference tournament, so this is going to be it for them. But their final game is going to be tomorrow at 12 noon for Senior Day. Baseball, of course, as we talked about in our last segment, is hosting the 100 Miles of Hate this week. That will conclude on Sunday with a 1 p.m. pitch. And then next week's midweek game is baseball against Lipscomb on the road in Nashville. And other than that, it's a pretty quiet week as far as MTSU athletics go. But we're getting back into some more football talk because we have more storylines available to us, and that means La Tech is finally out of Conference USA. They no longer have a 24-game schedule like they had in the past. That things have finally settled out. Connor, this how dramatic Louisiana Tech made this, but they ended up paying $8 million. The school board or the director of the university, all that in Louisiana said, good, just get out of it, go. Conference USA is ecstatic. They're getting quite the payday. I guess from the perspective of someone that's covered the conference in all different sports, La Tech leaving Conference USA, good or bad?
I'm kind of indifferent on it. I mean, I think they have the potential to have a good basketball program and baseball program, but they don't really provide anything for football. And like I said, they're really a two-sport race up there. Baseball's down this season, but historically they've been pretty good. You can probably find someone to replace that production, so I'm cool with it, honestly. And the conference gets a payout, like you said, so it works.
I speculate that Conference USA is going to take that money and use it to buy out New Mexico State FIU. That's just my theory. I think
Liberty.
I don't know that'll ever happen. Liberty loves it here, and I think the Conference USA loves Liberty too much. Because there's too many things going on in Lynchburg through the office of Conference USA. But if that were the case, I would love to see New Mexico State FIU leave because of the geographical struggles that is getting to FIU and New Mexico State, and now the travel schedules for basketball require this cross country for FIU to Missouri State. So if they found a way to get rid of that, because now UTEP's gone, so now you no longer have this easy traffic to Las Cruces and El Paso. You have to make a one-off trip to Las Cruces now. But anyways, I'm with you. I think baseball, softball in particular, two sports they've been really good at recently, that's going to hurt to lose that kind of level of competition that just really builds up this conference, which has helped a lot this year now that Jack State and even Liberty has taken a step up from where they were a couple years ago. Like, to have a consistently good team like Louisiana Tech in the conference does really well as far as the overall outlook of Conference USA. Basketball, a lot of history there, particularly on the women's basketball side. They had a great season, regular season champions, but they're gone. You're not going to get that good team back. And then, like you said, there's a lot of money in their basketball program that for the men's side, they were always a consistently good program as well. So you hate that. But football, I love the storyline of Sonny Cumbie because Louisiana Tech, it feels a lot like MTSU did 5 years ago with the same coach that would win 6 games every year, do the bare minimum, and that's who Sonny Cumbie is. So I kind of miss not following that storyline anymore. But we move forward. MTSU's schedule came out this week. Nothing changed on the non-conference side as we all anticipated. Conference USA did anticipate this change potentially happening, so they were very quick with getting a new schedule out. Just to highlight it, because the whole conference schedule did change entirely, and I'm sure if you're listening, you don't want to hear the whole schedule verbatim. But the big change is the Conference USA opener that was going to be against Louisiana Tech on September 26th is now Jacksonville State. The midweek order has changed. Now you're going to host Delaware on the first Tuesday, then you're at FIU on the next Tuesday, and then the next Wednesday you're at home against Kennesaw State. So you have two home games in your midweek slide. But I also noted you have this midseason stretch thereafter against WKU and Liberty. This part of this, I say the schedule, in my opinion, does not favor MTSU.
No.
Because your opener was La Tech. Now it's Jack State. In my opinion, probably going to be preseason favorite. If it's not Western Kentucky, it's probably going to be Jack State. Yeah. So you're looking out the gates. You've got Murray State, which we haven't had a good track record against FCS schools, but you got Murray State. I'm blanking on the next Marshall. That's right. You're at Marshall, and then you're at home against Nevada. Nevada, historically not a very good football team. I mean, that was one of our few wins last season. But then you go Jack State. You could realistically start the year 2-2. I think in best case scenario you go 2-2. But there's also a world where you go 1-2 into Jack State, and now you're looking at 1-3. I mean, it doesn't feel favorable just from talking early schedule.
No, I mean, and a lot of the times with schedules, you see how it's spread out evenly. It's really not. It's all lackluster at the top and bottom with Murray State, Marshall, Nevada, and then on the back end you have Sam Houston and New Mexico State. So it seems like if you're Derek Mason in Middle Tennessee, you have to win at least 4 of those 5 to even have a chance at a bowl game, because you're probably not going on a stretch and beating Kennesaw, Western, Liberty back to back to back. You talk about Jack State, so they're going to have to start and end really, really strong. The middle of that schedule is brutal. Then you throw in Kansas, which Kansas is not a great program, but they're still a Power 4. So, I mean, like you said, it does not favor MTSU whatsoever.
Yeah, that middle stretch I had highlighted starting off the midweeks against Delaware, who Delaware is always a big question mark because they had a really good team last year, but they had a lot of inconsistencies with their defense. And I also, forgive me, listener, I don't keep up too much with Delaware's transfer portal additions, subtractions.
How dare you?
Yeah. So I would have to imagine, though, they're going to field a good team still. I don't think they're going to have a fall off. At FIU, we all know what Simmons is doing down in Miami. He's doing great things. Kennesaw coming off of a championship, Western, and then at Liberty. That's 5-game stretch. Fortunately for you, you have a 10-day break between Kennesaw and Western Kentucky, 11-day break between Kennesaw and Western Kentucky. Yeah. But that's kind of the only benefit you've got of that stretch, because if you go through that stretch, I don't have enough faith that this team could get out of that stretch on the positive side. But if you were to go, 0-5 there, which is to be expected, but even going 1-4, but if you can get 2 wins out of that group, like you said, 4 or 5 out of that lackluster bookends of your schedule with Murray State, Marshall, Nevada, Sam Houston, New Mexico State. If you can find a way to get 2 wins out of that, I think you could be bowling. But that's a brutal stretch. And Lord, if we have another injury at quarterback, I don't feel confident.
Well, especially like you said, you're hoping you get certain things out of the schedule going into year 3 with Derek Mason. I think everyone kind of knows this is that prove it year. This is not the schedule you want in a prove it year where you are forced to win the first 3 and the last 2 to even have a chance of bowling because of how tough the middle of that schedule is. It seems like the schedule from nowhere in this scenario.
Well, what kind of record prediction do you have? I know, and I hate asking this question in April, but I'm doing a radio podcast show, so it's only right that we kind of get a feel of the temperature on it. I'll give you a second to ponder it. I've done some thinking on this myself. I don't love the start of the season. I do think of the 3 FCS schools that Derek Mason will have played after he's played Murray. Murray is by far the worst. No one thought Tennessee Tech would be a top 25 school like they were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Austin Peay was in that boat for a while, and they fell off late in the year. It's still a really good Austin, but Murray State's going to be a very bad team. It's a school that has put all their money into basketball. At Marshall, they look good. Versus Nevada, maybe they turn their program around for the 5th year, but after going their seasons have been a lot like MTSU's. Jack State, Kansas, Delaware, FIU, Kennesaw State, Western Kentucky, Liberty. I give them 2 wins top. Then you got Sam Houston, and then you got New Mexico State. I feel like this is a 5-7 football schedule, as where we sit in April. I haven't seen much from this team to feel confident past that. Maybe Roman continues this upward trajectory we've seen, but if you had to ask me right now and I had to put all my money on it, I put this team at 5 wins, and I think that's a best-case scenario.
I'm going to go 4-8, and it's kind of tough. I mean, I see Murray State, Nevada, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston State as 4 games that you're not guaranteed, because it's never guaranteed with MTSU football. But those are 4 that you think you've got a good shot at winning, and the rest of them are pretty much pick'ems. I mean, you've got Western, Liberty, Kennesaw, FIU, and Kansas. You can kind of chalk those up to a loss, but besides that, other games are kind of pick'ems. So I wouldn't be shocked to see MTSU win a couple of those games, but also would not be shocked to see them go 4-8 and only get wins over, ironically, the 4 worst teams on their schedule.
And it's like I said, it's got to come from that middle pack. Those midweek games, you got to, and 3 of those 5 are at home. That's good news. FIU isn't known for their home field advantage, so maybe that's an advantage of playing them on a Tuesday night. But you've got to be able to steal 2 of those to even think about bowling. But hopefully, if you feel good going through that stretch, then maybe the Sam Houston, New Mexico State finish line gets a lot easier for you. But before we close up shop today, again, if you haven't already heard the news, the NCAA did approve, starting in the 2026-27 academic calendar, that you can now play 5 seasons in 5 years, and that 5-year clock starts from the year that you graduate high school or you turn 19 years old, whichever one comes first. So that kind of, you might ask why the 19-year-old, there's a lot of kids that reclassify, that can kind of skirt that high school graduation. But it's whichever one comes first. If they graduate high school or turn 19 years old, but that doesn't start until 2026, 2027, this next academic school year, and it's not retroactive for kids that graduate now. So the one that we've been speculating all offseason since basketball ended was Elena Contreras. Is there a possibility that she comes back? Well, this makes it official that she can't come back unless she applies for a waiver, which she could still do, I think. But the 5-5 is now official and doesn't start till next school year. I think this is great. We've all been asking for some sort of, I would say, bylaw that makes this official. There's no longer any more guessing. You get 5 seasons, you get 5 years, and it's even better because now we throw out this the other part of this, the red shirt. Like it now becomes obsolete. The red shirt means nothing to nobody because you get 5 years, you can play all 5 seasons.
I like it personally. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of having 5 years of eligibility, but also you gotta take and give with these situations. Love him to death. He was a good player for MTSU, but we don't want another Brendan Harris situation where you're playing 8 years because you get injured. Like, have it at a set 5. You can redshirt if you want, / just sit out or play. And I think that's how they should do it. I mean, don't get these people waivers. Just say, hey, 5 years, do what you want. After the 5-year window's over, you're gone. That's how it needs to be to keep these 27, 26, 25-year-olds out of college athletics.
Well, and it's hard with the roster limits now that some of these sports are playing with. You get guys that are sticking around years extra past that 5-year window.
Yeah.
These coaches are having to rework their whole rosters around these guys that are deciding to stay. So it's good. I think it's good for NCAA. Finally, they got a little bit of backbone. Hopefully, they can lean on. But for what they gained in this decision, they have lost respect for me in the latest March Madness extension, going to 76 teams. We don't have enough time for me to rant on this, but they're going to extend the first 4 to now a first 12, essentially. All 11, 15, and 16 seeds will now be play-in games. They're going to play those at 2 locations, not at Dayton. But in short, Connor, I do not like this at all. I think it's bad for the sport. I know it's a cash grab, and they came out and said, this isn't a cash grab. This is so we can have more bubble teams. No, it's so you can have more sub-500 bubble teams get in, and you can make more money.
I'm with you. I absolutely hate it. And the worst thing that's going to happen is in a year or two, one of these teams is going to get in and win a game or two, and they're going to say, see, all they needed was an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, the 99% are the ones that get creamed in the first round by 30 points. If you're not a top 68 team in the country, you're just not good enough to make it. Like that's how I see it. Why are we extending a tournament that's already that large?
Mm-hmm.
It's a money grabber. Like, they can say it's not all they want, but it is. I mean, it was to get teams like Auburn this past season in for the future, because you can get those fan bases that will travel and spend money. It's a big money grab, but I mean, I hate it. Once again, if you're not good enough to make it, you're not good enough to make it.
I agree. And this is coming from an Alabama fan, so I know he's not biased about his Auburn opinions, but it's 100% accurate. I think it's bad for the sport. It's a cash grab, and you can't even, as an MTSU fan, mid majors, you can't celebrate it because those spots aren't coming to us. They're not coming to Conference USA. They're going to the SEC, Big 12, all Big 10, all of them. So running out of time, we're going to go to Dick Palmer from after the commercial break, who's at Reese Smith Jr. Field for the pregame festivities ahead of tonight's game. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Blue Raider Podcast presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee. Remember to follow us on social at Blue Raider Pod, at X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And if you're tuned into our live stream on YouTube, subscribe so you don't miss another one of our weekly episodes. Thanks to my producer, Jackson Smith, and of course to my guest, Connor Smith, who has a new X account at C Smith Media. Where it's a brand new one, so if you're following the old one, you're not getting good stuff. You got to follow his new one at C Smith Media. But thanks again to you for tuning in. You're listening to the Blue Raider Podcast presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee.
Boom.
Hey folks, it's Chip Walters from Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, helping Middle Tennessee make smart moves in a fast-moving market. Whether you're buying, selling, or just exploring your options, you deserve someone who knows this community and treats your goals like their own. From first-timers to long-time homeowners, I'm here to guide you with clarity, confidence, and a steady hand. When you're ready to make the next move, start with someone you trust. Visit ChooseChip.net and let's make your 2026 move the right move.
First Shot transforms Rutherford County youth. Coach Andy Herzer leads dynamic basketball camps and clinics, building skills and character since 2003. Kids dive into exciting STEM projects, sparking creativity through hands-on coding, art, and dance. They elevate their mind, spirit, and body in summer and winter programs. Visit FirstShotTN.org today to learn more. First Shot, where kids gain, elevate, and develop.
Next on All Sports Talk, it's the Blue Raider Insider Report with Chip Walters of Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and we start out with men's tennis. The Blue Raiders of Jimmy Borendame making their 7th straight appearance in the NCAA Regional after winning their 7th consecutive Conference USA Championship. But not good news today from Athens, Georgia. NC State, ranked number 30 in the country, knocked off Middle Tennessee by a score of 4-2. The Blue Raiders won the doubles point, and then Bertan Duran got a win on court 3 by a final score of 2-6, 6-3, 6-2. Another great season in the books for Middle Tennessee. They've already made some other news this week with recruiting news, and that's the name of the game. They have recruited some of the best players, not only in the country, but around the world, and they will continue to make that fight to continue to advance in the NCAA tournament, but it'll have to be next year. All right. Golf's Abby Lee and men's tennis Kareem Al-Amin were the big winners at the 15th annual Raiders' Choice Awards last night. The year-end ESPY-style show at the Tucker Theater highlighted all the academic and athletic accomplishments of the Blue Raiders student-athletes for the 2025-26 academic year. Lee and Al-Amin were honored with the True Blue President's Award, which is the highest honor bestowed upon a current MTSU student-athlete who epitomizes all that is good in college athletics. Presented annually to one male and one female student-athlete, the President's Award recognizes outstanding academic and athletic accomplishments and university and community service and leadership. The other winners last night included Male Athlete of the Year, Alan Kiplagat of cross country, Female Athlete of the Year, Isabella Johnson from women's golf, Male Newcomer of the Year, Javin Carter of men's basketball, Female Newcomer of the Year, Blair Bogus of women's basketball, Female Breakout Performer, Caroline McAnder of volleyball, Male Breakout Performer of the Year, Cooper Clapp of baseball. Team GPA Award for the spring and fall of 2025. Well, women's soccer won it for both semesters with a 3.686 GPA in the spring of 2025 and a 3.792 GPA in the fall. Now, community service, guess what? It's soccer again with 1,137 hours of community service. And the Blue Raider Impact Award went to Dr. Paul Patel, who has been part of Blue Raider athletics for 24 years and has become a world-renowned expert on concussions. And he continues to give back to Blue Raider athletics. We'll have video coming up very soon on the YouTube channel. Just stay aware, and we'll let you know when that gets up there. Blue Raider baseball is at home tonight, opening a critical series with Western Kentucky. The Blue Raiders and the Hilltoppers are in a three-way tie in the Conference USA standings. It's Middle, Western, and Sam Houston all at 9 and 12. Right now, Sam Houston has the tiebreaker on Middle. The Blue Raiders trying to get the tiebreaker on Western this weekend, but right on their heels at 8 and 13 are Kennesaw State and New Mexico State, and the Blue Raiders do have the tiebreaker on both of those. Top 9 in Conference USA will go to the conference tournament. Looking around the league, Sam Houston is at Kennesaw this weekend, FIU at Delaware, Jacksonville State at Missouri State, Louisiana Tech at Dallas Baptist, and Liberty at New Mexico State. We'll have the broadcast beginning at 5:45, first pitch at 6 o'clock tonight right here on WGNS. Women's softball back at home against FIU, losing in 9 innings last night by a score of 5-4. That's it for today. Stand by for Blue Raider baseball here on the Big G WGNS.
Next, another special News Radio WGNS broadcast.
WGNS, the flagship station for Blue Raider sports. Blue Raider baseball is on the air. From the Blue Raider Network, it's time for Countdown to First Pitch. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by State Farm Insurance and agent Andy Womack, Lightning's Locker Room and Phillips Bookstore, Granis and Associates, Las Casas Drugs, and by Middle Tennessee Electric. Now, let's go to the ballpark.
Evening from here on the MTSU campus. It's Blue Raider baseball tonight.